We have studied in Financial Management 1 course that a financial manager needs to take three types of decision. One is financing decision, other is investment decision, and one is dividend decision. So our FM2 course relates to the financing decision. Financing decision can be either long term or short term. Short term leads to working capital management, which is required for a year or less than it. And for long term, we require capital budgeting. That is the investment decision. Now, what is capital budgeting? Generally, capital budgeting is used for taking long-term decisions for investment. And this investment may be for the creation of fixed assets, or maybe for conducting a very large-scale advertisement expenditure, or it may be a employee training program, or it may be restructuring, either in the form of say merger or acquisition, or starting a new plant or anything. So there are various techniques that are used for capital budgeting, which can be broadly classified into discounted techniques and others are non-discounted. When we are talking about non-discounted, it involves payback period and ARR, that is accounting rate of return. And in case of discounted, we have one NPV, which is widely used, another one is IRR, and one is PI, that is profitability index. So we will be covering all this for capital budgeting course. Talking about payback period, in very simple terms, it means that how well or in how many years you are able to recover your investment. So first we'll look at the example of payback period. Say you are planning to invest. So for the example of payback period, we will refer to page number 185 of the text, question number 1. In it, there is a cash outflow in the project A for 15,000, which is year 0, and then we are given the various inflows. We have to calculate the payback period. So the first step is to calculate the cumulative cash flows. For year 0, there will be no cumulative cash flow. We'll start calculating cumulative cash flows from the year 1. So 9,500, then adding second year's cash flow 6,000, it will be 15,500, and in similar manner we will calculate the cumulative cash flows. Now we have to check at which point we are able to recover rupees 15,000. So from the cumulative cash flows, we can see that at the end of year 2, we can see we are recovering 15,000. But we also see that we are recovering 500 more. So we need to calculate the exact time period when we will earn or recover our 15,000 amount. So we will first find out the difference between first year and our investment, that is 15,000 minus 9,500, which we will divide it by the second year cash flow. This is simple mathematics, you can understand, and we get the year 0.916. Now we take 1.916 years to recover the whole investment, that is 9,500, and some portion from year 2 to recover the whole investment of 15,000. In payback period, we have to find out the exact years when we will recover our whole investment of 15,000. So from the cumulative cash flow, we can see that at the end of year 2, we are recovering our whole amount. In the first year, we recover 9,500. Now the leftover 5,500 is recovered in the year 2. But we can see that in year 2, we get a cash inflow of 6,000. And for meeting our investment criteria, we just need 5,500. So we will find out the proportion of the time period in which we have recovered 5,500. So what we will do, we will divide 5,500 by 6,000. So we'll get this amount, that is 0.916, which is the time period in which we have recovered 5,500. So the total will be 1 year plus 0.916. So the total years required to cover the investment of 15,000 is 1.916 years. The second non-discounting technique is accounting rate of return. As the name suggests, accounting, it is purely based on the financial statements. In this case, we need to consider two things. One is the profit after tax, and another one is the book value of investment or asset which you have purchased. Now, for example, you may be given some series in which you are given amount of profit after tax and you will be given the book value of assets. Now, the simple way to calculate ARR is we have to take average profit after tax, and which is to be divided by average book value of investment or assets. So this is just a simple formula to calculate accounting rate of return. You will be provided data for profit after tax for n numbers of years, and you will be given the book value of investment. You just have to take the average of both and divide it, and you will get the accounting rate of return. We just saw how to make the calculations using both these techniques. Now we need to understand that when we should select or reject a project. So in case of payback period, it is discretionary. Any financial manager or the top management may suggest that we need a payback period of say 2 years. So if you are able to recover the investment in 2 years, the project will be accepted. And if it takes more than 2 years, it will not be accepted. So there is no scientific calculation behind this criteria. It is purely based on discretion of the manager. And in case of accounting return, we see that if the accounting rate of return is greater than the cost of capital, the project will be accepted. And if it is less, then we will reject the project. Now we will look at discounted techniques. The discounted techniques are different from non-discounted techniques in a way that they consider the time value of money. Time value of money we have already studied in detail in FM1. So in this, the three techniques are NPV, that is net present value, IRR, internal rate of return, and PI, that is profitability index. We will look at this one by one. So for NPV, we will refer the same example, question number 1 on page 185. So in project A, we are given cash outflow at the year 0 and cash inflows at year 1, 2 and 3. Now what we have to do, we just have to discount this at the discount rate and find out the present value. In case of year 0, the discounting rate will be 1. For year 1, we will calculate the discounting rate. Now how do we calculate this? We have already studied this in FM1, but just to revise, for year 1, it is calculated like 1 divided by 1 plus r raised to n. So for year 1, it will be 1 plus 0.15 raised to 1. Similarly, for year 2, it will be 1 divided by 1 plus 0.15 raised to 2. And similar manner, we will calculate for all the years. So this we got the discounting factor. Now for calculating the present value, we will multiply cash flows by this discounting factors. So 15,000 into 1, it will be 15,000. This is outflow, and so we have put a minus sign before this, and rest are inflows. Now we will multiply this. 9,500 into its discounting factor, 6,000 into its discounting factor, and in similar manner. And then we will just add all the present values and you will get a amount, that is your net present value. So what is the decision rule for net present value? If you are getting a positive NPV, you will select that project. And if you are getting a negative NPV, you will reject that project. Even if your positive NPV is rupees 1, then too you will select because it increases the size of your pocket. The next discounting technique is IRR. Now, this technique is generally used when we want to find out a rate that will make your NPV 0. Like in NPV, we saw if we will be selecting the project if the NPV is positive. Now, IRR is that rate which will make your NPV 0. That is, your inflows and outflows will be equal at this rate. In simple terms, it means that you are able to cover your cost of capital only. you will not be able to earn anything. You are just recovering your cost at this rate. And we use trial and error method to calculate IRR. This method, like we used while calculating the required rate of return in bond valuation. So in the same way, we have to apply this concept also, and you may use Excel also to calculate IRR. As far as exams are concerned, you will not be required to calculate it manually. So we are not covering the calculation part in the video. Next method is profitability index. Now it is very easy to calculate this index. Just you have to remember a formula that uh, present value of all inflows is divided by the initial investment. So what we do here is we will calculate the present value of all inflows, which you do in NPV also, and we will divide it by the initial investment which you make. So if we consider the same example, you will add this 3, that is the present value of inflows from year 1, 2 and 3. So you will add all these 3 and divide it by the initial investment at year 0, that is 15,000, and you will get an index. Now what is the decision rule for profitability index? If profitability index is greater than 1, then you accept the project, and if it is less than 1, then you reject the project. Let us look at the difference between accounting rate of return and all the discounting techniques, that is NPV, IRR and PI. See, in both the cases, we try to find out the required rate of return, the rate at which you will be able to cover your investment. But the difference is that ARR will consider only profit, as it is based on the financial statements. So our financial statements will only show the profits we have earned. It will never show the risk which we have borne. But in case of discounting techniques, they will consider both profit and risk. Risk is considered by considering the time value of money. Then next point of difference is, in case of ARR, we never consider the time value of money, while in discounting techniques, we include this time value of money. Then if we see or make a comparison between payback period and other discounting factors, is that it also considers risk, but then it don't consider the profit. Also it just shows that how much time we require to cover our money back. So it is based on the wisdom that sooner is better. So how quickly you are able to cover your money. And as I said that the decision criteria is decided by the financial manager. So they consider just that 2 years as a decision criteria, but we never know what will happen in 2 years, or is this a proper criteria, that also they are not able to judge. It is just their discretion that we need to cover our investment in 2 years, whether it is feasible or not. So these are the limitations of payback period. So this chart shows us that uh, discounting techniques, you use any discounting techniques, they will give you the same result. About acceptance or rejection, whether to accept the project or not. See, if NPV says you that you can accept the project, then you will get the same result under IRR also and PI also. But in case of ranking, say if you have two projects to be evaluated, NPV may rank one project first and other second, and IRR may have a opposite view of it. But if we talk about the acceptance or rejection, all the discounting techniques will give you the same result. Now we will be looking at cash flow projections, which is very important for any capital budgeting decision. So we need to remember two things for this. One, we will consider only the incremental cash flows. Incremental cash flows, we can also call them as marginal. And if you all remember Mac 2 classes, you can also refer to as a differential cost. Now just to give you an overview of this, in Mac 2 we did either to make something or to buy something, make or buy decision examples. So if you are making any product, you will be incurring a raw material cost of say 100, and if you buy, you will not incur that product. So what is the differential cost? It is 100. So this may be either marginal or incremental. You may call it any. So in case of capital budgeting, you will always use differential or incremental cost. Say by looking at any example, you may not feel that there are differential costs. Say we will be discussing about the modern pharma case, where modern pharma is considering to produce a new product. So what is the decision then? Either to produce that product or not to produce that product. So you may do in this manner. So this is one thing, that you will always consider incremental cash flows. And the other thing is, you should consider the after tax cash flows, which is also most important. So you will always have to give the tax effect before considering the cash flows. Another thing is that the cash flows, you will always receive it at the end of the year. So this is an assumption which is accepted in books as well as in practice, that the cash flows are received at the end of the year only. ये बताना था, अब मॉडर्न फार्मा कर लेते हैं. Now we will be looking at the case modern pharma for understanding cash flow projections. So in case of modern pharma, they are considering to manufacture a new drug, that is Floxin. Now I just referred about incremental cash flows. If we talk about modern pharma, it has two options. Either it can manufacture this drug or it will not manufacture this drug. So in this case, whatever information given to us is incremental only. So you don't need to differentiate, because if it is earning a sales or revenue of 80 in year 1, if it produces, if it don't produce, it will earn 0 of the sales. So differential will be 80 minus 0, that is 80. So all these figures are already incremental or differential. So we are not required to calculate it again. Now in this case, first we will calculate the cash flows. So in this case, we need to calculate, one is cash flow and other one is NPV. So let us look at the details which the case already provides us. That is, first we are given the sales for 7 years. The product life cycle is for 7 years. So we are given the revenues for all the 7 years. Then we are said that we require a capital equipment of 120 million and the depreciation rate is 25% using the WDV method. And the salvage value at the end of 7th year will be 25 million. Then we are given details about working capital. So the working capital requirement is 25% of the sales. So this is our sales figure and 25% of it will be a working capital requirement. But another thing which is given here is that the working capital is to be adjusted at the beginning of the year. So before the year starts, we have to make a provision for the working capital. So in case of first year, we will make the provision at year 0, for second at the year 1, for third at the year 2, and in the similar manner for all the 7 years. Then we have said that at the end of 7 years, the working capital is expected to be liquidated at par. This means that whatever balance working capital we will be having, we will sell it at the value it possesses at that time. Only we will have a loss of 4 million on account of bad debts, which is a tax deductible expense. This means when you will be deducting all the expenses from the revenue, you will also deduct bad debts, because you will get a tax shield on that expense. Then we are given information about the other cost, that is raw material as 30% of sales, similarly variable manufacturing, fixed annual operating, variable selling expenses. Then we are given overhead allocation, that is 10% of sales. Another thing in this regard that is given is the incremental overheads attributable to the project are however expected to be only 5% of sales. Now here you may get confused whether to use 10% or 5% or to use the total of both. But as I said, we will use only incremental. And we have learned in MAC 2 what is overhead. Overhead is something which you cannot directly allocate to one product. So in case of modern pharma, it may be producing many other products. And overhead is something which is borne by all these products. So in this case, we will consider only incremental, that is 5. Because even if you don't produce Floxin, you will be incurring that overheads. So we will consider only 5%, 5% because by producing Floxin, your overheads will increase by this amount. Then another point given is that if you produce Floxin, there will be a reduction in the contribution margin of other products that Modern Pharma produces by 10 million per year. So we will consider this whole amount as a deduction, because when you are producing Floxin, you are losing 10 million on your other products. The tax rate is 30%. So looking at the details, using all this information, we will calculate cash flows and NPV for this project, whether to accept this project or not. Now for calculating this, first we will put the amount for capital equipment. Now this is the amount you will be incurring, so it will have a negative sign. Then we'll write down the information for sales, which is given in our case for year 1 to 7, 80, 120, 160 and so on. And then we will calculate the level of working capital. As I said you before, working capital will be 25% of the sales, and this adjustment you will have to make at the beginning of the year. So for year 1, you will make the adjustment now, that is at year 0. For year 2, you will make the adjustment in year 1 and on so on. Means you will make the adjustment in the previous year. So the sales is 80 for year 1 and 25% of 80 is 20. So that will be the level of working capital. Then for year 2, 120, again 25% of it, that is 30. And in this way, we will calculate for all the years. So for working capital, for the year 1, we will make a provision in the year 0. That is 25% of 80 comes down to 20, which we will show in year 0. Same for year 2 in year 1, year 3 is in year 2, and in similar manner we will calculate. So for the 7th year, we will make the provision in the 6th year. So for 7th year, there will be no working capital provision. Now we will have to calculate the operating results in order to arrive at the cash flows. So what is operating results? It is nothing but your revenues minus all the expenses. So revenues in our case will be the sales, that is 80, 120, 160, 200, 160 and so on. Now we will account for all the expenses which are given here. Raw material cost is 30% of the sales. So what we will do, we will just calculate the percentage on sales. 80 is 30%, 120 is 30%, 160 is 30% and so on. Same is for the variable manufacturing cost. It is 10% of sales. So similarly, we will calculate the variable cost. 80 is 10%, 120 is 10% and so on. Then we are given the information about fixed annual operating and maintenance cost, that is 10 million. So it will be same for all the years. So we will just write down 10 in all the years. It will be same as it is a fixed expense. Then variable selling expenses, which is 10% of sales. So again we will calculate as 80%, 80 is 10%, and in similar manner we will calculate it for all the years. Then we are given information of overhead allocation. As I mentioned that we will just consider the incremental, that is 5% and not the 10%. We'll just calculate 5% of the sales. So overhead expenses will be 5%, 80 is 5%, 120 is 5% and in similar manner for all the years. Then we will account for the loss in contribution, that is 10 million per year. So it will be same for all the years. Then lastly, we will account for the bad debts. So it is mentioned that at the end of 7 years, you will get your working capital at par, but there will be a loss of 4 million in case of bad debts. So at the end of the 7th year, we will deduct 4 million as bad debts. Then we will have to calculate the depreciation. For depreciation, we are told that the rate is 25% and the method used is WDV, that is written down value method. Now how we calculate the depreciation? It is simple, you just put the cost you will make 25% of it. This is 30, that is your depreciation. Now for the second year, you will calculate depreciation at the same rate, that is 25%, but it will be on the book value, that is 110, the value at the end of year 1, right? In the same manner, you will get a the book value was 90, by mistake I told 110. So what you will do, you will deduct the depreciation for every year, and the next year's depreciation you will calculate on the remaining value. In this way we will calculate it for 7 years, and you will get 30, 22.5, and so on. Now we will calculate profit before tax. So from revenues we will deduct all the cost. Revenue is our sales figure. From this, we will deduct all the expenses, that is raw material, variable manufacturing, fixed, variable selling, overheads, loss in contribution, bad debts, and depreciation. So after deducting all this from revenues, you will get the profit after tax. Then we will deduct tax. Tax rate is given 30%. So tax at the rate of 30%. Tax rate will be applied on profit before tax. So we will calculate tax for all the 7 years. Then you will calculate profit after tax, that is profit before tax minus tax. So these are the operating results. Now we will calculate cash flows. So cash flow means that profit after tax plus depreciation. So as I mentioned before, that the cash flow should always be after tax, but as depreciation is a non-cash expenditure, depreciation is a expense but it don't involve any cash outflow, so we add it back in order to find out the operating cash flow. So what you will do, you will add up profit after tax and depreciation. So this is your profit after tax plus the depreciation amount for all the 7 years, and you will get your operating cash flows. Then we will take into account the capital equipment, which cost us 120 million, and we have put a negative sign because it is a cash outflow. Then we will calculate incremental working capital. Incremental working capital is nothing but the difference between the two. Like in the first year we incurred a 20 investment, it is also outflow, so we will put it into a negative sign because it is a outflow. Then we will calculate the difference between the all 20. Now we can see that in the year 0 we have made a working capital investment of 20, then it increases to 30. So again there is an outflow of 10, taking the difference between the two, so minus 10. Then we see that it increases again to 40, so again we take minus 10, the difference between the two. Then it increases to 50, so again we will put minus 10. But in the next year we see it decreases, so it is not an outflow, rather we will consider it as an inflow. So it will be 10, 10 and 10 because the level of working capital is decreasing. Then we will account for salvage value. We will receive salvage value at the end of 7th year, and salvage value means it is your inflow. You will get this amount by selling the equipment. So that is 25 million. Then we need to calculate tax on salvage value. Now one thing you have to remember while calculating the tax is that tax is always calculated on income. So if you are selling any machinery, then you will calculate the tax on difference between the selling price and the cost that you incurred, and not on the selling price, right? Because difference between these two will be the profit, and your income will be your profit and not the selling price. So you will have to calculate the tax on the profit. So now you will have to calculate the cost first, then the difference between the two, and then the profit. The selling price as it is given, it is 25, the salvage value, and cost means from 120 you will deduct the depreciation for all the 7 years, and the remaining amount will be the cost, which comes to 16.019 something. मैंने लिखा ना, यहाँ लिखा है. Now the difference between this both is 8.981. So this is the profit, or in other words you can say it is the capital gain by selling the machinery. So you will calculate the tax on this amount. Tax rate is 30%. So the tax amount is 2.69. So here we will write the tax on salvage value, that is 2.69, and it will be deducted because tax you will be paying, so it is an outflow. Then we will record the working capital recovery. As mentioned here, the working capital is expected to be liquidated at par. Liquidated at par means you will get the same amount as it is in your books. Say if it is 20, you will get the 20 back. But as we have seen that 4 million is the loss. So you will recover 16, but we will also account for this 4 while calculating the cash flows. We will not deduct this. While calculating operating results, we deducted it as it was a cash deductible expense. But while you are calculating cash flows, you have to consider this 4 of bad debt also. Because again, there is no cash inflow or outflow in this case. So you will be considering this. And last step is to find out the net cash flows. It is just simple. You have to make the total of all the amounts, like operating cash flows plus the working capital. And in this way, making the addition, you will get net cash flows for all the years. So with this, we complete the first thing, that is post-tax incremental cash flows. Next, we have to calculate NPV for the project, and the cost of capital is 15%. Here cost of capital means it is your discount rate. And we will calculate the NPV in the same manner as we did it in the previous example. So for the year 0, the discounting factor will be 1, and for 1 to 7 we will calculate it as I showed using this formula, 1 divided by 1 plus r raised to n, and here your r is 0.15. So 1 divided by 1.15 raised to 1, so you get 0.869, and now you can calculate it for every year by just pressing the equals to button. So you will get this for all the 7 years. Then we will calculate the present value, which is nothing but the multiplication of this both, and then you have to add it up. If your NPV is positive, you accept the project, and if it is negative, then you reject the project. So this is all with the case Modern Pharma. Now we will be looking at the examples of replacement decision, that is on page number 227 of our text, question number 33. So in this example, we are talking about whether to replace a machine or not. So they are saying that the old machine is costing them 4,50,000, and the new machine which they want to buy will cost them 5,80,000. Then information about depreciation is given for the new machine, that will be straight line for 5 years. And after 5 years, the salvage value will be 1,30,000. Now information is given about the old computer which was depreciated at the rate of 90,000 per year, and it will be completely written off in 3 years. That means in 3 years the value of this computer in your books will be 0. If we don't replace it now, we will have to replace it in 2 years. So if you don't replace it at this moment, then after 2 years also you will have to replace this computer. And if you replace it now, it will fetch you 2,30,000, and if you replace it after 2 years, you will get only 60,000. Then they say that the new machine will save us 85,000 per year in the operating cost. Now see, whenever we are calculating this kind of examples, the tax savings or the cost savings is termed as cash inflow only. So here the new machine will save us 85,000. So it is a kind of cash inflow for you. Tax rate is 38% and the discounting rate is 14%. So we will be dealing with the portion B, that is you want to replace the old machinery now and you don't worry about what will happen after 2 years. So we will calculate the cash flows and should we replace it or not. So again we will be using the NPV technique. So first we will have to calculate the cash flows. Now see, first we will calculate for year 0. So at year 0 you will be purchasing the machinery for 5,80,000. So that is your cash outflow. Plus by selling the old machinery you will receive 2,30,000. That is the cash inflow. And then we will calculate the capital gain as we did in Modern Pharma. Right? We calculated the cost, then difference between the selling price and the cost, and then the tax rate on it. So in this case, the cost of machine is 4,50,000. The cost of machine, old machine was 4,50,000, right? And the rate of depreciation is 90,000. So we have provided depreciation for 2 years. So the value now or the cost now is 2,70,000 and you sell it for 2,30,000. So you sell it at a loss, right? The cost is 2,70,000 and you sell it for 230. So you incur a loss of 40,000. Now whenever you incur a loss, it will be given as a deduction. So like you are preparing a profit and loss account. So you will show it as a expense that you have incurred a loss. This will reduce your profit and so you will pay less taxes. So you will get a tax shield on this. So we have included that tax shield over here in the year 1 because we are selling the machinery at that point of time. Now we will calculate the cash flows for the remaining years, that is 1 to 5. S told us that 85,000 is the cost savings, and I told you that whatever the cost savings are will be considered as your inflows. So 85,000 is your inflow. Again you will have to pay tax on this. So what we will do, we will multiply it by 1 minus T. So the remaining amount will be after tax. The main rule that all the cash flows must be after tax. So we will multiply it by 1 minus tax rate plus 9,880. Now what this 9,880 is? See, we know that depreciation on new machinery is to be provided on straight line basis. The cost is 5,80,000. It is for 5 years. So every year you will provide a depreciation of 1,16,000. Then you had an old machinery on which the depreciation was 90,000. Say if you did not purchase the new one, you would be showing the depreciation of 90,000, but now you are purchasing a new machinery. So you are showing an extra or an incremental depreciation of 26,000. For new machinery, the depreciation is 1,16,000. For old machinery, it was 90,000. Difference between the two is 26,000. This is the incremental depreciation. So we will be considering this. Now on depreciation also you get tax shield. Like because depreciation is a tax deductible expense. But that will reduce your profit and so you will pay less taxes. So again we will multiply it by the tax rate and we will get the tax shield. And tax shield is also your inflow. So it will be added. Then same way we will calculate for the year 2. Every year you will be getting the cost savings which you have to take after tax. So multiply it by 1 minus T. Again you will get this tax shield. And then we will consider this. If because we are already told that if you are not selling the machinery at year 0, you will have to sell it after 2 years. So if you are selling it at the end of 2 years, you will be getting 60,000, right? And another thing, this is also we are calculating the tax shield. Say at the end of 2 years, it was 2,70,000. Then again you deduct 90,000, so it will be 1,80,000. Again you provide for depreciation. So you get 90,000 amount. You sell it for 60,000, right? So the difference 30,000 is your loss, as it was in the previous case also. So you will calculate the tax shield for this also, right? So here we will show. Now you might think that why we have deducted it. It should be our inflow, but we have deducted because this is the opportunity cost, because you have already sold the machinery in year 0. You could sell it in year 2 also. So you are losing this opportunity cost. That's why we are deducting it. Then for the year 3, in the same way, you will get this tax savings, cost savings, and the depreciation tax shield. Now in the 4th year, what will happen? You will have to calculate the tax shield again, because this old machinery, if you had continued with the old machinery, it would be for you with the 3 years only, 1, 2 and 3, right? But in the 4th year you will have to buy a new machinery in any case. So now we will not calculate tax shield on incremental, we will calculate tax shield directly on the new depreciation only, that is 1,16,000. So 1,16,000 multiply by the tax rate, you will get 44,080. Now for the last year, again there will be cost savings and depreciation tax shield. Now what we have to calculate? The capital gain tax, because at the end of 5th year you will be discarding the machinery and the salvage value is 1,30,000. But again you will have to provide for the tax, and as said earlier, tax will be provided on the profit only, not on the selling price. But now what happens in this case, that the cost of machinery was 5,80,000 for 5 years. You calculated the depreciation as 1,16,000. So when you deduct 1,16,000 for 5 years, the value at the end of 5 years will be 0. So whatever price you get for this machinery, all will be considered as profit, because in the books the value is 0. So your profit will be 1,30,000 and you will calculate tax on 1,30,000, right? And you will deduct it from the salvage value, and then you will get the inflow. So by this you will get the inflow. Now you will have to calculate NPV, which we have been doing by using the discount rate, that is 14%. So what we have to do, for year 0 the discounting factor will be 1, and using the formula 1 by 1 plus r raised to n, we will calculate discounting factor for all the 5 years, multiplied by the inflows, make the total, you will get NPV. If it is positive, you go for this option. If it is negative, you don't go for the option.